Hello again, rail fans. You know, one of the great things about this hobby is finding a hotspot. A hotspot is a place on the railroad where a lot of trains converge and just go through one after another. You can sit there for half a day or all day and just watch them go by. That's a real find. Now, there's a few of those in the South, and if you watch many of my videos, you'll know that one of my favorites is Folkston, Georgia. Now, I get a lot of questions about this place. You know, when is the best time at Folkston to see trains? And give me a time slot that I can be there. And folks want a 9 to 5 answer. You know, they want an answer that fits their schedule. And I'm here to tell you, railfanning just ain't that way.
I don't like railfanning at night because there's almost never enough light to capture moving trains on video properly. My setup is not made for low light acquisition, but in some places you just gotta get what you can get. It's 4:33 a.m. on a Saturday morning in Folkston, Georgia. The northward number 2 track signal is showing a medium clear indication, telling me that a train is coming and he's lined to diverge onto the Jessup subdivision toward Waycross, Georgia. 4:33 is not early in Folkston. Lots of folks are already at the Circle K getting gas or coffee, and these are not partiers coming in from an all-nighter. At 4:48 a.m., up came Q604 out of Winston Yard at Lakeland, Florida. Now, this crew was coming off an all-nighter, but the working kind. One Folkston resident apparently wasn't going to wait for a long freight train and took a big risk. Fortunately, he made it and avoided a high-dollar traffic ticket, or worse. You almost never see this in Folkston. .604 is nightly mixed freight, mostly empties except for phosphate, scrap iron, and rock loads. Because I hardly ever shoot at night, I find I'm not very good at it as 604 passes. The camera's iris and gain are wide open, and the shutter speed is as slow as it'll go, 30 frames. If it weren't for the LED floodlight next to Mike Sears' virtual Railfan web camera, we wouldn't be seeing much at all. Now, 4:50 in the morning seems crazy for a lot of rail fans, but after sleeping through this rush the night before and waking up to sunshine and no trains, I wasn't going to miss this. Sometimes you just got to get up early if you're going to get any action. Duck hunters know this. Every fisherman knows this. Liz and I were staying in Peak's Cabin, a great little rail fanning lodge just 100 feet from the tracks here in downtown Folkston. I had gone back in to get a second cup of coffee and almost missed the next one, this time a southbound. It is 5:20 a.m. Q031 is nightly container and piggyback traffic out of North Bergen, New Jersey for Jacksonville. The containers are all single height. This train goes through Baltimore's Howard Street Tunnel, and that's a few inches too short for double stacks, though CSX is working on raising that clearance right now. He's carrying mid-train DPU this morning because he's a big train. I've not heard the defect detector yet, but he's probably better than 10,000 feet. 31 also carries UPS traffic, and that makes him a no-doubt-about-it train. UPS are sticklers about getting their stuff from here to there on time. And I've heard rumors they're not very friendly about it when a train delays their shipments. 31 is a staple at Folkston. You can see him 7 days a week, if you get here early enough. .5:37 a.m. and the signals and gates activate again. This time it's W035. A W prefix on the CSX means any kind of work or special train. It could be company ballast, cross ties, rails, on-track equipment. But in this case, it's not company, it's country. Military gear headed for the docks at Jacksonville's Blunt Island. This stuff is likely headed overseas somewhere, but that's just a guess. The rails on the two main lines at Folkston are among the shiniest in the South. Shiny rails always tell you found a busy railroad. While modern rails are high-tech steel, they are still iron, and railheads will start to rust in just hours without trains running over them. Just 8 hours before, a huge Okefenokee thunderstorm drenched the whole area with 2.5 inches of rain. It was blowing so much it drove me off the front porch of the cabin while I was trying to shoot this train at dusk. But there's no rust on this iron. It's got too much work to do. 5:42 a.m. By the dawn's early light, Amtrak PO 53, the auto train, appears at Folkston. He's coming down the Nahunta Sub out of Jessup, Georgia, an almost straight run with few crossings. The Atlantic Coastline built this cutoff from Jessup to Folkston so their cracked trains could avoid the congestion of Waycross. They nicknamed it the Jessup Short Line. Many of the lights are on in the bedrooms and lounge cars. 53 is about 3 hours out of its destination at Sanford, Florida, and folks on board get up early to get breakfast and packed up. Auto train is another no doubt about it job. CSX dispatchers try to never delay this guy. 53 and northward counterpart 52 are non-stop trips. They do make a stop in Florence, South Carolina to change crews, take on fuel, and take off trash. Most of my Florida neighbors and friends are big fans of the sunset hour, and that's fine. But by far, my favorite time of day is sunrise. The air is crisp and clean, especially after an overnight rain. The birds are just waking up, and it's almost always quiet. Except for periodically in Folkston. This is rush hour on the rails.
91, we've got a clear signal downtown Folkston on this number 2 track.
6:12 a.m. and next up is Amtrak 91, the southbound Silver Star, New York to Miami. If things are running right, the Silver Star usually dogs the auto train most of the way coming south, and it's so this morning. 91 is about 28 minutes behind 53. I walk back into the cabin for a third cup of coffee. This is how convenient these places are. Peak's cabin is a small 2-bed cabin with a bathroom, fridge, and microwave. They even have a radio scanner and Wi-Fi. But the view off the front porch is the main attraction for me. The Chessie caboose next door has beds to sleep 5, a bathroom added off the back, and a side porch you could have a fair-sized party on. You could invite every rail fan you knew, or at least all the ones you liked.
XCO 1308, meet them clear, folks to turn out 2-2. Down just 69, 76 on.
The sun is up good now, and after a gap, the parade continues. 7:25 a.m., and here's northbound EO13, E for empty. They're coal hoppers returning north from the Seminole Power Plant at Bostwick, Florida, to the mine at Atkinson, Kentucky. Though this empty train came out of the Palatka area, the hoppers on the head end carry marks for Orlando utilities. But the train is profiled from Bostwick, so we can only guess at what's really happening here. EO13 is a big one this morning, as it usually is. And with something I've not seen before, 4 mid-train DPU engines. At least 2 of them are running. Not sure about the other 2.
CSX Equipment Defect Detector. Milepost 611.0. No defects. No defects. Total axle 9er 16. Train length 12264. Speed 47. End of transmission.
Now, my favorite of the 3 railside lodging cabins in Folkston is the crew quarters. It's right beside the junction of the Jessup and Nahunta subs, so you still see all the same action, but it's a little more secluded. This is a quarter-mile from the downtown crossing, so you just don't hear the horns. Crew quarters is also larger than the other 2. It sleeps 4 or maybe 5, has a bathroom, mini kitchen, and that all-important front porch just feet from the tracks. If you have your own rig, you can camp in the Turnout RV Park right next to the crew quarters. They have 3 spaces with hookups. You can book these cabins at railsidelodging.com or call them at either of these 2 numbers.
CSX A764 medium clear, approach and turn out from the number 1 Nahunta, number 1 Jessup to the number 1 Nahunta with leading in CSXT 687 south.
The sun is high enough now that we've got sidelight on the train, so I cross the tracks to the east side. At 8:36 a.m., here is A764, daily shuttle traffic out of Waycross for Baldwin, Florida. It's carrying miscellaneous for other locals and road freights to pick up there, part of CSX's block swapping philosophy. It's about a 150-mile round trip, but the crew does it in one shift. By now, there's a few rail fans out here. These are some local friends of mine from Folkston. But no one yet at the Railfan platform, and sadly, the ones who show up now won't see anything for hours. The big parade is already passed until later this afternoon.
This is a good example of why you should do some serious online research before you go to a place, before you take a trip to spend all day at a particular hotspot, because I'm here to tell you the railroad just doesn't care what kind of show they're putting on for us. All they care about is getting the merchandise from here to there, on time, on schedule, and at the lowest cost possible. That's their only goal. So do your research and you'll have a lot more fun. Now please hit the like button if you like this video, that's this thing. Subscribe down there if you haven't already done that. Hit the bell to be notified when I put up a new video. And check out the other videos on my channel. That's youtube.com/Distant Signal. I've done quite a few videos on here, and some folks say some of them are pretty good. Also, write all your comments in the comments section below, or if you prefer, email me at railfandanny@gmail.com. I try to reply to every one of those. So until next time, we'll meet up again somewhere out there on the high iron. This is Danny Harmon, out.